Straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani and you're watching Firstpost. Let's get started. We have a power-packed sports show today. The Formula One season is around the corner. The first race is heading our way from Bahrain this weekend. And if you thought the noise and the buzz on the grid will now take over, think again. All the buzz off the circuit has been making much of the noise. Who are the top contenders for the championships this year? What's the latest controversy plaguing Red Bull? And will Mercedes see red this year? Or will they drive off into a happy sunset with Lewis Hamilton in his farewell year? A super preview is lined up. In other news, will an NFL star who's played Super Bowls even ever stop being an NFL player? We bring you the story of what happens when some rowdy elements decided to rough up an NFL star. Also, a US cycling team faces suspension with its director banned. The crime or the offense? The team mechanic disguising as a team rider. All of this lined up in the show for you today, but first, Sports 360. We'll start with cricket controversy in India's state cricket team and association Andhra Pradesh following their Ranji Trophy defeat to Madhya Pradesh. Star batter and former captain Hanuma Vihari alleged political interference. Vihari said he was asked to resign from captaincy over an altercation with a teammate. The player is the son of a prominent politician, which is the reason Vihari claims he was sidelined. Russian and Canadian Olympic committees both appealed at the Court of Arbitration for Sport pertaining to disqualified Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva owing to a dope offense. Russian authorities want the doping offense to be overturned and their gold in the event to be reinstated. Canada, who finished behind in 4th place, meanwhile, seek a ruling that would put them in the 3rd place with this disqualification. In football, English Premier League club West Ham United beat Brentford 4-2. Jared Bowen found the back of the net thrice for the Hammers. Emerson scored the 4th for West Ham with a stunning 25-yard strike. This was West Ham's first victory in the year. Everton's penalty for breaching Premier League financial rules has been reduced from 10 points to now 6 after an appeal. The reduction in penalty will now take them to 15th in the points table, although they now might face other charges for alleged breaches in their accounts for 2022-23 season. Now, we are a couple of days before the end of February and a couple of days before the madness of racing takes up the space. On one end, spring season is right around the corner. And on the other, it's the Formula One season and it's heating up. 10 marquee teams, 20 flamboyant drivers will go on head-to-head into a battle. Speed, thrill, excitement, emotions, mind games, and of course the good old verbal banter. There is room for everything right here, especially in this season. The Formula One year is ready to take off. On the 2nd of March 2024, the Bahrain Grand Prix will mark the start of the 2024 Formula One calendar, and there's 23 more races to follow. The drivers will have 3 rounds of practice spread across 29th February and 1st of March, and of course the qualifying race on the 1st, followed by the big one on the 2nd of March. Marking 20 years since the very first Bahrain Grand Prix took place. But the 2024 season is already abuzz with so much chatter, and there is much to look forward to this year. Let me start. While it would be an emotional farewell for some, it would be about cementing their legacy for others. Certain drivers will come out to prove a point, while few others will be basking in the glory and reputation that they have built over the years. This surely is not going to be just another Formula One season. And of course, it's the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton at the center of it all. And that is what makes this year even more interesting. How often can you remember of a Formula One season where all the talk does not revolve around the champion of the previous year, but around someone who's had a pretty average 2023 instead? Now, don't get me wrong here, Lewis Hamilton is a racing superstar, but let's face it, he himself would want to erase that last year from his resume. But getting back to the buzz ahead of the season, the talk is not about Hamilton's racing prowess, nor his preparations or even Mercedes team strategies. It's all about Hamilton's shocking decision to leave Mercedes and join hands with Ferrari at the end of this year. We all have already spoken so much about that, so I won't go back in there, but that decision has certainly grabbed all the eyeballs. Hamilton, who has won 6 World Championship titles with Mercedes, will be keen to make this final season a memorable one. So it's perfect that we start at Bahrain. The circuit is a special one for Hamilton. The British driver won the Grand Prix on record 5 occasions. But heading into the season, there is much more than just past achievements that Hamilton and Mercedes will bank on. Team principal Toto Wolff has expressed optimism regarding the W15, Mercedes' new ride for this season.
I believe the previous 2 years were necessary for us to readjust, recalibrate and reinvent ourselves in certain areas. That root and branch approach is never easy. But we have made progress and look forward to taking the next step with the W15. It won't be a linear path, but when we stumble, we will get back up and keep climbing.
Mercedes are also coming off a year where they overtook Ferrari by just a whisker to finish second in the Constructors' Championship race. They've benefited, of course, from a steady, mature drive from Russell in the season finale to secure that result. Hamilton and Mercedes will be looking to finish the season in a grand manner. But the prospect of Hamilton leaving is certainly looming large and might just overshadow all of this a tad bit. But apart from the challenge within, what about the biggest threat from the grid itself? Max Verstappen and the Red Bull are coming off a stunning 2023. But in the 2024 pre-season testing, Red Bull didn't have impressive numbers to show. It's believed that Red Bull might have been running on higher fuel loads in the pre-season testing, so that pacey aspect of just how good their car is was not evident. But this may even lead to many writing off the Red Bull. A mistake a lot of them made in 2023 too, and we all witnessed what happened thereafter. Last year, Max Verstappen pocketed his 3rd consecutive championship title. He dominated with a record 18 wins, 21 podiums, 12 pole positions. Verstappen is also accompanied by the calm and composed Sergio Perez. The duo complement each other's contrasting styles. Verstappen is more attacking, while Perez brings more composure and a freestyle driving to the team. And with the new car in, Verstappen and Perez will be looking to defend their title.
It is always going to be hard to try and replicate the year that we've had. But we always try to learn and to grow. That doesn't necessarily mean winning the same amount of races, but I do think it can be a very competitive car. And now it's up to us to extract the most out of it.
All this sounds great, but Red Bull has come under the spotlight, and it's not something that's making the right waves as they head into a very critical race here. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner is caught in the middle of a storm. He's being investigated over allegations of inappropriate behavior. Allegations were made by a female employee of Red Bull against Christian Horner, stating that he exhibited controlling behavior. Horner has, of course, denied the allegations. The external investigation carried out on February 9th is complete, is what reports say, but Horner's fate hangs in the balance and will be decided sometime before the Bahrain Grand Prix. In fact, Red Bull is putting up a united front in this matter to show that all is well and they're not really bothered about this. Christian Horner was present at the team car launch earlier this month, but if FIA and the authorities sitting as judge on this controversial issue come out with anything adverse, it will certainly create a lot of imbalance and a bit of a discord in the team as well, and will certainly hit them hard ahead of a fresh season. And speaking about a psychological edge, one team that will be high on it and on confidence is Ferrari. The team had an exceptional pre-season testing and will be hoping to continue the same heading into the race this weekend. Charles Leclerc clocked the quickest time on the final day of testing, and his teammate Carlos Sainz finished on top over the 3 days of testing. They had their moments in 2023 and would want to carry that forward. What were they? Carlos Sainz was the only non-Red Bull driver to register a Grand Prix victory last year. Leclerc showed incredible growth and maturity as a driver as well last year. And with the arrival of SF24, their car for the 2024 season, things ought to get better for Ferrari.
I like the look of the car a lot, including the white and yellow parts on the bodywork. But of course, what really interests me is how it will perform on the track, as that's all that matters. The SF24 ought to be less sensitive and easier to drive, and for us drivers, that's what you need in order to do well. I expect the car to be a step forward in several areas, and from the impression I formed in the simulator, I think we are where we want to be. This season, the aim is to be the front runners all the time, and I want to give our fans plenty to cheer about by dedicating race wins to them.
Carlos Sainz, who will leave the team at the end of the season, will also be looking to end things on a high. Also, Ferrari will be waiting to roll out the red carpet for Hamilton in 2025. So this will be sort of a landmark year for both these drivers in some sense, sort of paving the way for the Hamilton era in Ferrari to start off. Another team looking to turn the tables is McLaren. Given how they finished 2023, expectations around McLaren are sky high. Their strong closing stretch last year has given the team a lot of hope and a ton of momentum heading into 2024. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, along with team principal Andrea Stella, will be banking on MCL 38, their car, for 2024.
I'm certainly pleased that we have been able to make significant steps forward after a difficult start to 2023 from a reliability point of view. I'm pleased not because I look at the results, but because I look at the work that we have put into the technical reliability in particular. In terms of looking at the organization and the operating model of how we deal with reliability, we have deployed more focus and structure on reliability.
Things seem to be falling in place for McLaren. If the team got it right with the MCL 38 in pre-season testing, can they truly start off on the right foot here? Something they did not quite do the last year. So the excitement for the season is evident. The buzz on the grid and off it is enough to fuel a super intense competitive chapter in Formula One. Will drivers script memorable farewells, or will Red Bull stamp its authority and class all over once again? We'll stay tuned for that. Now, some of the best in the world have that ability to be looked upon as superheroes, not just because of the skills they possess, but there is a feeling within the fans that their favorite superstar can do no wrong. They're icons, role models, and larger-than-life characters. Every sporting discipline has its superhero, whether it's in cricket, basketball, football, athletics, boxing, even soccer or American football. One such superhero who has not yet retired from the sport, but isn't in any club at the moment, is back in the news. Now, speaking of the NFL star quarterback Cameron Gerald Newton, even after having a break of 1 year from the sport, Cam Newton has been connected to it. But recently, he got caught in a bit of a scuffle that has brought him back into the spotlight. He single-handedly fought off a gang that had caused a bit of a commotion in a tournament that Cam Newton himself had organized. And his moves has got the internet talking.
Cameron Gerald Newton. He has not officially retired, but his future in the NFL is definitely not too exciting. He last played in 2021. He was given a 1-year contract with the Carolina Panthers. He's had a bit of an exciting career. Cam Newton has featured in Super Bowls. He was even the MVP in the year 2015. He was at the peak of his career. At one point, he was a superstar, till injury concerns took over and he sort of fell off the cart. Even though things have changed now and Cam Newton may not be in the radar with any of the clubs, he's not featured in professional American football in a while now. He still does his bit to give back to the game. He sponsors the education of children in his community. He organizes tournaments, events where kids can hone and develop their skills in the sport, a voice of reason and someone who wants to give a helping hand out. Basically your regular Good Samaritan. He's also known never to stand down from a fight. And now this star Samaritan is making all the headlines. No, it's not for a new contract or any on-field drama or story. A recent video is doing the rounds and has gone quite viral, showing this ex-Panther caught in a scuffle during a youth football tournament that Newton organized. It's unclear how the fight began or whether Newton sparked it off. But he's seen in the thick of it, fending off attackers, and a bunch of them. Though the video was hazy and not much could be seen clearly, absolutely everyone who has known Newton or has been a fan managed to recognize the 6 feet 4 inch tall Newton, giving it back to a few men who were seen trying to get physical with him. And Newton was keeping them down rather effortlessly. Social media exploded with many of his former teammates, those who knew him well, applauding Newton. Another former quarterback, Robert Griffin, said, "He's used to being a one-man army. You're delulu if you thought some guys jumping him was gonna faze him. Hat didn't even move." fans started flooding the space, showing their support to the player who has always been giving back to his community. Some saying that no matter what martial arts classes you take, you can't put down an NFL player. Something may have ticked off the NFL star to get him into a fist fight. But here's another thing it's done. It's given a great advert for Cam Newton's skills for any club that's watching.
Impersonating someone or any character is often considered an art. Well, of course, you need the skills to do that. Who can forget Joaquin Phoenix playing the character of Joker and winning multiple awards for his enactment? You have to be that person. You have to hone the psyche of whichever character you choose to impersonate. That's called art, and when you do it on screen or in theatre. But why am I speaking about acting and impersonation? Well, don't get confused. This is still a sports show, and we're still bringing you sporting stories from around the world. So I had to dish this one out. So we're speaking of impersonation, and it's great in theatre, but you won't win any awards in sports for impersonation. It becomes an act of deceiving here. And that is what a US women's cycling team, Cynisca, did. The impersonation itself occurred sometime last year, and the team in question was punished by the sport's governing body just yesterday for trying to enter a race by deceiving the organizers. So what did they do? The US cycling team only had 4 healthy riders coming into the Argenta Classic. The Argenta Classic, of course, was held in Belgium. The race, however, requires 5 riders for a team to participate, not 4. The International Cycling Union, or the UCI, said the team convinced the panel into believing that a 5th rider was present. The first part of the impersonation, of course, was complete, but the deception didn't end there. The team's other cyclists lied about the whereabouts of the 5th rider, saying the rider was unwell and someone else was coming in. When they felt that their trick could be caught, UCI claimed that they dressed up their team mechanic as the 5th rider. The mechanic became a key participant in the race. The mechanic even wore a face mask so that she could hide her true identity. The UCI claims this was all done by team sporting director Danny Van Hot.
Upon being informed by the commissaires that the team could not participate if all 5 riders did not sign the start sheet and take the start, Mr. Van Hort instructed the team mechanic, Moira Barrett, to wear a rider's clothes and a face mask, to present herself at the start and sign the start sheet as the team's 5th rider. Van Hort was found to be the main perpetrator.
The mastermind behind all this, Danny Van Hort, the director of this charade, has been banned until the end of 2025 by UCI. Moira Barrett, the mechanic, has also been banned, but the actor here received a shorter sentence. She only will stay away from the circuit till August 2024. The cycling team, on the other hand, was fined and is to be suspended from the next international race. Well, you're bound to face such charges for deceiving in sports. But I got to be honest with you, it's quite comical if you just think about it probably a little later. It's like they were trying to have a makeshift arrangement and as if it was a Sunday league. But this wasn't the only instance where athletes have been caught deceiving. During the Seoul 2000 Paralympics, Spain won a total of 104 medals. That included a gold medal in basketball for the intellectually disabled. But after their victory, Carlos Ribagorda, a player for the team, claimed Spain had cheated. Ribagorda was an undercover journalist playing for the team, and he claimed 12 members of the team were not intellectually disabled at all. Following that, the Spanish team was stripped of their gold medal. How ironical that the deceit had to be called out via deception itself. In another incident, and this I go way back to 1980, Rosie Ruiz went on to win the Boston Marathon. She finished the marathon clocking the fastest time in Boston Marathon history. It was later discovered that Rosie had not actually completed the marathon. She had only joined the race half a mile before the finish line. Such instances have marred the credibility of the sport itself, but I guess it is about the gravity of the error. What's at stake and what are you losing to win something? We're almost at the end of the show, but still some time left for Last Serve. Saudi Arabia is slowly trying to become a sports hub. We always cover it here and brought you instances of it. If not the mainstream events, then surely the offbeat ones as well. They're not backing down there too. And the latest grabbing the headlines is a treacherous, slimy obstacle race in mud. Total of $80,000 up for grabs. So what's a little dirt and slush really for it? But that does it here on Firstpost. We hope you enjoyed this one, but do join in again tomorrow for more such interesting stories. Till then, take care.